9:20 on a Monday morning here at AM 1700 WRCR Haverstraw on WRCR.com. You're tuned to The Morning Show with Jeff and Will, and live on our newsline now, as she is every Monday morning around this time, is Tina Traster with the Rockland County Business Journal. Good morning, Tina. How are you?
Good morning to you guys and to Rockland County. How is everybody today?
We're good. We're good. Talking about lots of stuff. You know, and since we asked pretty much everybody else where they fall in line on this one, I'm going to have to start out our conversation by asking this to you. I know, Will, you're disappointed.
I sigh out of protest.
You're the one who brought up this topic to begin with.
No, you are.
Oh,
you did yesterday.
Oh,
I brought it up today because
yesterday.
I blame you for making it so popular.
All right, boys.
All right. Well, here we go. Here's the deal. Where do you fall on the whole debate over the M&M's situation?
Oh, for Christ.
See what I'm talking about, Tina? This is what I had to deal with all morning this morning.
I love the reaction.
We're talking about the green M&M. They changed the shoes. Who cares?
First of all, we're not. You're the one who seems to be fixated on the green M&M. I'm talking about all the M&Ms.
That's why it's a big issue.
Right.
Okay.
No one seems to care that they're changing the shape of the orange guy.
They haven't changed the shape.
Yeah, they're changing all of them. They're getting little touch-ups, that's all.
Right,
but
whatever.
Anyway, all right, so we need to know, where do you stand on this?
I think this cosmetic surgery is designed to distract us from the bigger issues.
I agree 1,000%. It's all a great big marketing issue.
There was a theory that it was to distract from the fact that they were being sued for, violations of child labor laws, but they already won that lawsuit like 11 months ago. It's fine. They just wanted some better PR.
It's the thing is that we're constantly in a mental race to the bottom. Where we're focused on M&Ms instead of we are exhausted with the important issues.
That's it, and that was exactly my point. There does come a point where, for me personally, I'm tired of talking about how much crime is going up in the city and how many guns are out there, and COVID, and where people are getting into fights in airplanes over masks, and the school districts, and Ukraine, and we're on the brink of war over there. Yeah, at some point, I'm okay with saying, you know what? Let's talk about whether or not the green M&M should be wearing sneakers or boots.
Or as we always do with Rockland County Business Journal, we talk about issues about development and real estate and economics and things that matter to us and things that nobody else is talking about.
Even better. So let's plow ahead and do that instead.
Let's do that. I'm going to talk to you about where the hot investment money is right now. And
is it Garnerville? We could use some.
That's right. Well, funny enough, you said that. Okay, so here's what we're gonna start with. Local developer Gabe Alexander, a name many of you should know. He just purchased the Garnerville apartment complex named Mountainside Apartments. It has 225 garden apartments, and he just purchased that for $42.5 million.
Wouch!
And if you think that's a big number,
it does sound pretty big.
That sounds pretty big until I remind our listenership that in December, the Allister Nanuet, which is a 504-unit complex in Clarkstown, was sold to a consortium of New York-based LLCs for, wait for it, $226 million. Okay? Now that property that's the third time in 5 years the property turned over with an appreciating value of 50% over 5 years. Now, why I tie these two together, and also a couple of other examples, which I'll circle back to in a moment, is because what are we seeing? We're seeing an important trend that's very specific to a county like Rockland and the suburbs at large, and that is the housing shortage has turned these multifamily complexes, whether they're four-family buildings, units, or whether they're 500 units. The investors out there, the investors who have deep pockets, are in chase of good investments. And they are moving away from strip malls and retail and even the office market because those are softer parts of the economy and they are riskier parts of the economy. But the housing shortage, which we have talked about before on this show, is driving great demand for these housing complexes, because what these investors know is they're never going to have to deal with vacancies. There's just constant demand. There's less supply. We know that even the governor in her State of the State address tried to talk about affordable housing. We've talked about we've talked about this specifically, the loss of a younger population here in Rockland County. So savvy investors, everything from an individual investor like Gabe Alexander, who we know is the same developer behind the Bingo supermarket, and also the Pavilion, which is an apartment complex in Nyack, a high-end apartment complex that he built. This is where the desire is. This is where the energy is to look for multifamily apartment complexes. Two others, just to throw out there. Last June, a group called Harbor Group International, they paid $54 million for a 169-unit complex, and that was in Pomona. It's also known as the Henry. You may have heard of it.
Right.
Yep. And also back in 2020, not that long ago, a Muncie-based entity bought the 72-unit rental complex known as Eagle Rock Apartments on Piermont Avenue in South Nyack. So we're seeing, like I said, we're seeing an interesting trend here, and it makes sense. We have a housing shortage, and the money is chasing apartment complexes because they don't want to build condos. They're riskier. They're harder to finance. So as long as this housing shortage, bottom line, as long as this housing shortage, stays in place, these properties are going to appreciate in crazy, crazy percentages. I mean, just to repeat, the Alistair Nanuet, okay, so people may have remembered that was called the Peaks of Nanuet, sold for $226 million. Really extraordinary. And sold to what's known as a REIT, which is these are these investment. Actually, no. This time it had been sold to a REIT, and this time it's been sold to a consortium of LLCs. So, money chasing multifamily units. This is an interesting trend. That said, any questions so far?
Actually, I did have one, but I'm going to defer to our caller because we do have a caller who has a question, so I always defer to them. So, hi, Tommy, you're on with Tina Traster of the Rockland County Business Journal. What's your question?
My question is about capital gains. I have a second house in Marine Park, Brooklyn, and it's been assessed at $700,000. The real estate person told me she can give me $750,000. The problem is I owe $200,000 on the house. If I sell the house, does the government take it as the house being sold for $700,000, or do they take it as being sold for $500,000 since I owe $200,000 on the house?
Tina, I'm not sure you could answer that question, can you?
I would say that if you want to send me an email, we have some good accountants who we know, and I could certainly send you an email with some contact information.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Your show is very interesting.
Thanks, Tommy. I also encourage you on Monday to call at 7:15 when we have Naomi Stryker back on. She could probably help you with that as well.
Thank you again, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, Tommy.
Bye-bye.
Same to you. Real quick, Tina, if you can, because we just got less than 30 seconds or so. You're talking about all these existing houses and units changing hands. When we're talking to Naomi Stryker, she seems to think that we need more inventory. We need more to be built. Are any of these companies looking to do any of that?
Well, I think she's not wrong. She's not wrong. Yes, I mean, these people are also in search of vacant land where it makes sense to put multifamily housing. So one of the most obvious places to keep an eye on is over in Nanuet in the transit-oriented development, the TOD. Right by the shops of Nanuet. Along Main Street, there's been a whole swath of land that's been rezoned for this very purpose, for multifamily housing. So we're waiting and anticipating some news on that front in terms of the Ben Cohn family and the property that they own, and eventually some plan to do some multifamily housing. This is needed all over the county.
No doubt about it. Thank you, Tina, for joining us this morning. Just go to rcbizjournal.com for more information. We'll talk to you again next Monday. Thanks a lot.
All right, have a great week.
You too.